Another stinking hot day today, folks. 36, 37, 38 degrees. And I reckon even hotter if you're lying on the concrete. Now, again, I was away today, but I got the family to water the garden, which is I'm really happy about. Thank you, because they did a really good job. Meaning they got a nice deep watering in it. So what I'm doing now is cooling it down because it's still early enough, well, late in the afternoon, but not dark enough to worry about any mildew developing. So I'm going to cool these down and give them a water. But what I've also got here are the two big malakas down. These are a couple that I sowed earlier, and this is going back 3 months, I reckon. They took a while to actually germinate, at least 3 months. August, September, October, November. Yeah, 3-4 months. So these need to go in the ground or in large pots, but I'm going to pop them in the ground. And before I do that, I've got to get a trowel. Let's go and check the soil of the bed that we prepared a couple of weeks ago, I would think, to see how it's faring based with all this heat that we're having. And that's the one that I did with the mulch walls. So come along. Now this bed here, for those who haven't seen that video, it's a raised bed. Obviously, it's just off the ground at the base. And what I've done here is I've put straw all the way around the wall as an insulator and on the base as well, and then I filled it in, so you can imagine it's like a big bowl or a square bowl with straw around the walls, underneath, and the middle full of our planting cocoa and compost. And then I put the straw back on top, so we've got straw on top as a protective layer. But if you look down the side of this wall, that's all straw down there, all the way down. So you can see all that down there, and it's probably about 100 mil, 200 mil thick. Now, we water this, maybe not as often as I'd like, or maybe we do often water it as I like. Have a look at that, that's moist. Now this bed here, even though we haven't planted into it, we water it at least once a day basically, because we need to keep the life active inside. So at the moment it's composting. So it's like a big compost pile with our fertilizer stuff in there, or our planting mix that is. And come and have a look and see how moist it is underneath here. I'm just going to pull some of this up. Now, this stuff here was the bags that I had lying around doing absolutely nothing but dehydrating. No worms yet, because we haven't actually put anything into here to grow yet. So I reckon once we put the plants in here, the worms will start to grow over time. And I look, in the planting mix, I should say that we put worm castings, and they do have worm eggs in there, as all worm castings would. Now, this is nice and clean, no worms yet, but lots of organic matter. You can see it, it's holding its moisture. Now this was hydrophobic initially when we first done it, because it was left out in the sun. So if you've got bags of soil like that and it's good quality but it's dehydrated, well, rest assured you can actually hydrate it. Now what I'm going to do with this bed is plant these two big malakas, because I haven't built my hothouse and these are really big and they're time to go in the ground. I'm just going to take these two bottom leaves off. You can, if you haven't done pruning of tomatoes before, look, I know 99% of you have, the basic rule of thumb is to see if it's not too, well, if it's really soft on top, you can try and push it that way, it won't crack. And what I mean by cracking is actually breaking the skin there. Ideally use a nice clean and sharp pair of secateurs or snips, but if you haven't got a pair, you always put your little finger or index finger there at the bottom when you go to crack it. See how I just cracked it there? That's the line there where the skin's broken, or the outer bark. In this case, it's soft tissue. Now, if we actually pull that away like that, you see how it's connected at the bottom. Now, if I was to try and pull that downwards, I'll actually tear the outer skin of this plant and cause a big open wound. Not an ideal situation. So what you do is you crack that way and then you crack back the other way. See how it came off really quick? I'll do one more with this one, and I need to do it anyway because I'm going to show you something about planting. So if it doesn't crack upwards first, that did perfectly. That's how I like it first, because I like it cracking, pushing upwards and cracking the underside first. That's like doing an undercut, and then the top one should just break away. We've got one more here. That's a bit soft. No, it's not cracking open. So we go this way, but we keep our finger on the bottom side so we don't tear it away. Crack, now back the other way. And it's gone. And the reason we did that, folks, is that because we're going to bury this right in the ground there. Yep, I'm going to open this up in the middle. No, we're going to do one on this side and one on that side. So let's open up this hole. I brought a cultivator instead of a trowel. The soil's really nice and soft, so I can almost do it with my hands. Now you need to get right down there. It's a good opportunity to see how moist it is down here, eh? Look at that. Oh, that's great. super moist. Now, normally with other plants, oh, look at these roots. Have a look at those. How clean are they? Beautiful. Normally with other plants, when you bury them too deep, they can become waterlogged or really unwell. They get rot along the stem rot or something like that. But not with the tomatoes. With the tomatoes, what we get is more root development. This is what I spoke about yesterday briefly. This is what you can do with your tomatoes. If you haven't planted them already, or if you've got some really big ones in pots or, out of the ground, get them in the ground like that, bury them really deep, and all that stem that's touching in the soil will develop new roots and give you a bigger, stronger and healthier plant. Big, strong, healthy roots. Beautiful. It's what we want. This is growing in our planting mix and cocoa combined, folks. It's a match made in heaven when you put those two together for pots. So if you've got any tomatoes to put in the ground, get them in the ground. That's what I'm doing. Never too late to plant a tomato, even if you only get a handful of them growing by the end of the season. Better that than throwing them away. Now these are going to get a liquid feed with our liquid gold and half strength Eco Butch, and that's just going to kick them into gear. And all the other ones, even the second day of heat that we've had, a little bit of cupping, not as bad as yesterday. I think they hydrated them better this time. Check out our website, facilitiesgarden.com, and if you're watching this episode just as we've uploaded it, I'm on 3AW 693 from 6:30 to 8 a.m. Saturday and Sunday this weekend, folks. So tune in. Gardening program with Darren James. Give us a call if you've got any garden problems or some great gardening ideas. Love to hear from you. And also, we're celebrating our Red Hill outlet. The fact that we've got a family out there running an outlet for us as a click and collect, and you can walk in store and shop as well. I'll be there straight after radio till about 1 o'clock. And if you're in a neighbourhood or want to come down and venture out on a beautiful day, it's going to be sticking hot, I know. Come down and check out the great range there, huge specials. The black grid is up to 70% off, so that's part of our Black Friday sale that we're running, and you're getting an extra 15% off the already discounted prices on all other items, folks. Facilitiesgarden.com, and if you shop by midnight Sunday, you go in the draw for a chance to win one of the $500 garden hamper. So lots of great things happening there. And enjoy the weather, keep cool, keep hydrated, and look after your garden too. From me, Vasily, Maresi.